How was class last night?
It was good. It was a lot. I can't get my camera to come on.
Have you been caught in the district court fines and fees debt trap? High fines and fees harm our communities. A 2017 report by the United States Commission on Civil Rights found that harmful fines and fees practices are most common in communities covered. Has your driver's license been suspended for a charge that is not related to driving? Have you had to choose between paying for a necessity like utilities, groceries, or rent, and paying a court fine? Have you ever been caught up in a district court fines and fees debt trap? It's time to stop these politics in our communities. Get involved. Let's make a change. Call our community organizations at 501-376-7157.
I hear the motion between us. Always something to glow. If I had my way, surely you would be closer. I need you closer into my life. Take me up on the carpet ride. You can reach me in the giggle, but you better make it soon. You can reach me by caravan, cross the desert like an Arab man. I don't care how you get here, just if you can. need you right here, right now, right by my side. Get here. Okay. Yes, that's Alita Adams bringing us in this morning with Get Here If You Can. And she's going to ground our conversation on this 4th of July that some of you are celebrating, but I certainly am not. And we'll be talking about that more in just a minute as well. So I want to say thank you so much. Absolutely want to say Sawubona to you this morning. Want to remind you that we sit in the spirit of oneness, that oneness being the humanity that binds us together. And there's nothing you can do about the fact that we are interconnected forever and ever and always. We are entangled by that humanity. Now, how you respond to it is going to be up to you. And we're going to give you opportunities to respond in ways that celebrate the whole of all of who we are. But you are the one who has to make the decision to follow through with that. So before we get started, I want to make sure that you know how grateful we are for you right now in this moment. We realize and we recognize that there is no way that we would be able to celebrate in August 39 years. Is it October? 39 years in August. There's no way that we would be able to do that if it were not for you. You are the ones who keep us alive. You are the ones who keep us present. You are the ones who keep us relevant. You are the ones who keep us KABF 88.3 FM, where we are the voice of the people. So we want you to know how thankful we are for every time you show up, however you show up, even when you show up to challenge us in the space. That lets us know that you are listening, that you are paying attention, and that you are willing and able to have your voice be amplified regardless of what it is that you want to say. So thank you so much to those of you who listen, and to those of you who spread the word. We get new listeners all the time, and that's because somebody out there listening goes and tells somebody else that they need to listen, and then they start listening. So we thank you so much for that. I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to be greeted by our co-host, your illustrious, the pastor, Toney Orr, is here this morning. Grand rising to you, Tony.
Grand rising to you, Denise. Thank you. Just want to say good morning to everyone. It's a beautiful day outside.
What's wrong?
I was just trying to see the levels are not moving. Is the mic on?
Yeah, the mics are on. This thing is on.
Say something, Denise.
Say something, Denise. This is Denise testing our mics 1, 2, 3. Denise testing our mics 1, 2, 3. If somebody's out there, let us know whether or not you can hear us. Can you hear us out there? Somebody send me a message. Let me take my phone off. Do not disturb. Send me a message. Let us know whether or not you can hear us. We are concerned that you may not be able to hear us in this moment. You know, we are still waiting for the equipment. It has been paid for. It just has not been delivered. So I don't know if you can hear me, but we want to keep talking, but I don't know how much to keep talking if you can't hear me. So I'm going to give it a few minutes to see what happens in this space. Say what? We're not broadcasting. We are not broadcasting. You want me to listen to see what's happening on the radio?
Yeah, I just went in. I didn't hear it. Say something.
Say something. Say something. Say something. Say something. Because this is moving now, but these aren't moving right here. Say something. Say something. I think we are.
Yeah, we're live streaming.
We're live streaming, but we're not. We're not on the air. So you can hear me on Facebook. So they can hear me on Facebook.
Yeah,
you can hear me on. You can also hear me on YouTube. Well, how come I can hear myself talking?
Because you plugged directly into the studio. but those levels aren't moving. So that means we're not broadcasting out, and I can't hear us on the radio in there.
Hey, Mr. Henderson. You can hear us loud and clear? Loud and clear. He said he can
On the
hear us
radio?
loud on the radio. On the radio, loud and clear. Thank you, Mr. Henderson. Okay, Mr. Henderson said you can hear us loudly and clearly on the radio, so we're going to keep right on going. That's what I'm talking about. Community showing up when you call. Thank you so much, Mr. Henderson. Well, Toney is trying to figure out what is going on because apparently he has some concerns about the way that we are broadcasting this morning. So I'm going to continue to move us forward with our conversation that is absolutely rooted and grounded in Alita Adams singing Get Here If You Can. When she talks, when she sings this song, first of all, can you be a witness with me? Can you touch and agree with me that she has a beautiful voice? And you can tell that it's coming from way down deep in her soul when she has the conversations. And when you hear a little bit about her story, about how people would rather hear somebody else sing her songs, not because she did not have the voice, not because she was not gifted, not because she was not talented, but because she was Black. They'd rather hear a white person or a different person sing her songs because that would make it come alive for them, because they could not open themselves up to receive within their bodies the spirit of this woman's voice resonating through them as she sings whatever song it is. And so listening to her story is just it's always amazing to me to hear stories. I'm always centering stories. I am a storyteller and I want to hear other people's stories. And I think that is the way that we get to know each other more and more and more, is when we share our stories together. So Alita Adams is singing this song, and it's really to her lover. No doubt about it, it's to her lover. She says, I don't care what you have to do to get to me. I don't care what obstacles you have to break down. I don't care what barriers you have to dismantle, disassemble. I don't care what you have to do. I don't care how far you have to come. I need you to get here. But she also says, get here when you can. So I'm going to be patiently waiting for that moment that you arrive. And as I'm waiting, I'm anticipating this opportunity to see your face, because we have been talking across the miles. We have been distanced by our love has been distanced because of our geography, distanced by our geography. But here we will have an opportunity to lay eyes on each other. Here we'll have an opportunity to lay hands on each other. And as I wait for that moment, I'm getting excited, and I can't help but sit and think about all of what we're going to do when you get here. We're going to have a high time. This is what I would consider a lover to think of as heaven. We're going to have a high time. It's going to be nothing but goodness in this moment. And so she's talking, and she's not really pleading. She's just letting her lover know that I can't wait on you. I can't wait to see you. I can't wait for us to get into the same place at the same time so that we can have a good time and have discussions that feed our souls. And as I was thinking about these words, I was thinking about us as Black folks. I was thinking about as Black folks in particular, all of the conversations that we have right here at Community Voices, the conversations extend to the whole of who we are as people. So it doesn't matter what your race is or what they say your race is. It does not matter your ethnicity. We simply center Blackness in this space, but we have conversations that reverberate beyond Blackness as well. But I was thinking about the Black collective and how sometimes, I don't know about you, Toney, but sometimes I get tired when I'm trying to help wake Black folks up. Sometimes I get frustrated when I continue to see how we tap dance for whiteness. Sometimes I get overwhelmed by feeling like there's this key out there that would help me unlock the sleep, that would help me unlock the ignorance, that would help me unlock I don't want to say anything that's offensive, that will help me open up the minds and the hearts of people. I feel like there's a key, but I just can't find it. And when I do find it, I feel like I can't find the right lock to put it in, to turn it. And so sometimes I get frustrated and overwhelmed. And then I feel like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I'm going to keep on doing this. But then I hear Alita Adams saying, you got to be patient. And you got to wait on your people. You got to be patient, and you got to be willing to do whatever it takes. You got to be willing to drive down whatever street. You got to be willing to go into whatever space. You got to be willing to wait however long it takes. You got to be willing to be on the journey with them no matter what. You got to just sit back and say, I'm going to stay right here until you come. And I'm going to be here waiting for you. I'm going to be here excited to see you. I'm already anticipating the time that we are going to have together. When you finally walk through that door, I want you to just get here when you can. And I just got inspired by those words. And that's what we'll talk about. I know you have some announcements you need to make, and I need to do the EJI tidbit, but I wanted to get us started while you were doing whatever you were doing.
Yeah. And, there are, and please excuse me, there are certain things, systems here in the studio that, you monitor to make sure that we're broadcasting, we're streaming and different things. And one of the things I wasn't seeing was on one of our equalizers, it wasn't moving. And so when it's not moving, it always makes me believe that we're not broadcasting, but we are transmitting. So I don't know what's going on, but I do know this. Equipment is on the way. It's on the way. But I just want to once again just greet everybody this morning. Hope you're having a great Tuesday morning. The only announcement I have is that this coming Saturday, July 8th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at War Memorial Park, we're going to be celebrating. Arkansas Community Organizations is going to be celebrating as volunteers and all the work they have done throughout the year, whether with free tax preparation, Renters United, for those of you who know about Big Country Chateau and all the issues that was going on over there, and how Arkansas Community Organizations pushed the city, pushed the Attorney General to do something about that, to get those residents taken care of, to get them in better housing. And so we just want to celebrate Arkansas Community Organizations this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at War Memorial Park. It's going to be free food, music. It's going to be a giveaway. So come join us in celebrating what they do, because they do it for you.
I also want to let you know that on that same day, July 8th, which is this Saturday coming up at 7 p.m., you will have an opportunity to experience the Black Love event. This is our third episode.
Round 3.
It is happening at the New Deal Gallery right here at 2003 South Louisiana Street in the city of Little Rock, 72206. We are super excited to have Ingrid Hunt, to have X, and to have Bruce James as our conversationalists talking about Black love at the intersection of the system of white inhumanity and what that looks like, how we can respond, what we need to do to move forward. And you are absolutely invited. We are doing things a little bit differently this time. We're going to start the reception at 6 o'clock. There will be art on the wall, and the artists will be in the room. And so you'll have an opportunity to have a little something to sip on, a little something to eat on, and then you can walk around and just marvel. When I say marvel at what's on the walls, it's amazing, the innovation, the imagination that we have. And these are primarily Black artists. Some of them are queer. They're not always Black, because we usually have Amanda in the room, and Amanda is non-Black, and so we usually have her art, which is absolutely amazing. It's always in pencil. It's just, y'all got to be here, and so you will be able to engage with the artist, and then the conversation will start at exactly 7 o'clock. The conversation will run for an hour, and then after that, you will be able to purchase art if you'd like, or just have more conversation. You can commission some work. You can do whatever you need to do with the artist in that space. So we have a full event lined up. We'll be there from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and then we will adjourn for the night, and we might go somewhere else. You never know. Sometimes we have an after party. And so you are invited to the Black Love 3 event happening on this Saturday at 6 o'clock p.m. The doors are open. The conversation starts at 7. We hope to see you there. I want to call our attention to our Equal Justice Initiative tidbit for today. Today is July 4th, which many of you are celebrating. Many of you are celebrating the 4th of July. Toney, do you celebrate the 4th of July?
I don't personally. I don't personally. I don't. But I do go if I will go and eat at someone's barbecue or someone's house if they invite me. I will go and eat. But personally, I don't grill or anything like that. So I don't know if that's still celebrating, but
Well, what do you like? I'm not here to say to somebody that you shouldn't go and spend time with your family on the 4th of July. Like, I'm not going to say that. I'm not even going to tell anybody not to celebrate the 4th of July. I don't celebrate the 4th of July, but that is definitely your choice. To me, if you gather with your family and you say, well, we're gathering, we're not going to celebrate the 4th of July. We just gathering because it's a day off. So we just going to take advantage of it. My question becomes, what's the conversation? Do we talk about what it means to be independent? Do we talk about the fact that Black folks are not yet independent? Do we talk about the history of America and how we continue to be plagued by the lie of independence amongst Black people? Like, what are you talking about? Or are we just talking about good? These ribs show he is good. Like, what's the conversation? So I think that becomes what my concern is. I don't, I wouldn't tell you, do what you want to do because you're grown. And I want to liberate everybody. If I'm fighting for liberation, I certainly am not going to put shackles on you. But I would say that becomes the critical question. What is the conversation as you gather on this day that you call the 4th of July? So here we have on July 4th in 1933. Now, July 4th was celebrated starting 1776, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like, that's when that's the history of 4th of July. The independence is in 1776. The day in 1776 that the Declaration of Independence was adopted for what we call the United States of America. But here we have in 1933. In 1933, on this day, which is July 4th, the day that we celebrate as Independence Day, a white mob seizes Norris Dendy from a jail in Clinton, South Carolina, beats him, hangs him, and then dumps his body in the yard of a nearby church. This is so loaded to me. Let me read that again. In 1933, a white mob seizes Norris Dendy from a jail in Clinton, South Carolina, beats him, hangs him, and then dumps his body in the yard of a nearby church. So this is happening on Independence Day, where this Black man is being seized. He says a white mob seizes him from a jail. That means that the system, this is what we talk about systemic. A system of systems are at work here. So you've got white people in the system of white inhumanity, in the system of whiteness, who comes and colludes with the system of criminal injustice to get the man out of jail, because if he was in jail, they should have left him alone. But whoever is running the jail allows them to come into the jail, take his body out. They have his way with him, beating him first and then hanging them, and then takes him and dumps his body into another system, which is the church. So you've got whiteness, you've got the system of criminal injustice, mass incarceration, which is what we call it today, and you've got religious Christianity, Western Christianity, as it is interpreted, has been interpreted to us, all of them working together against this one Black body on the day that we say in America we celebrating independence. And so I wonder, what Black people, when you say I'm celebrating the 4th of July, what independence are you celebrating? Because the same thing that happened to Norris Dendy in 1933 continues to happen to us right now in 2023. So that becomes my question. If you want to gather together and celebrate Independence Day, fine. Just tell me what you celebrate. Explain to me how you are independent. Help me understand. That becomes my question. You look like you were going to say something, so that's why I was pausing.
Yeah, I kind of got lost. I understand the system of whiteness and humanity. I understand the system of the criminal. But when you said a system of religion, and I guess you're basing it on the fact that they threw the body, they put the put the body in the yard in front of the church. So in some way, you're saying that the system of religion was complicit with the other two?
I mean, it's symbolic. Of course it is. Of course it is. Let's think about the fact that going all the way back to the birth of the nation, I think this is when the first time they used this cinematography where they took the cross and they set it on fire, and that became the symbol of the Ku Klux Klan. And so every member of the Ku Klux Klan had to necessarily be a Christian in order to be a member of the Ku Klux Klan. So racism is rooted in this system. And I said it before, I said that it is the Western Christianity that has been in the way it has been interpreted to us. So I didn't say it was your God. I didn't say it was your Jesus. I said the way it has been interpreted for us that we have bought into and we continue to perpetuate. Yes, I believe that it is absolutely complicit in the system of racism and the independence that has been denied to us to this day. Absolutely, I believe that. I'm stopping because you look like you're about to say something.
No, I'm just thinking. Just thinking.
Whoa, that look on your face is what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I don't want to cut you off.
No, because I'm thinking in my thoughts. I'm trying to gather my thoughts, before I say anything else. So.
Yes, and you have words in the Bible. We can talk about this. You have words in the Bible that continue to tell us that if you are a slave, then you ought to obey your master. And what the Bible has, the way we interpret that now is to say, oh, no, we're not talking about chattel slavery where humans own humans as property the way that it was back in the day. We're talking about you need to become a slave to Christ. And so now your master is Christ. So let's think about that. So you take a person whose ancestry is rooted in the system of enslavement and you say to them, oh, well, let me just transfer. I think that's what they call it in mental health fields, transference, where you take something that was applied to one relationship and you take that same phenomenon and you just simply apply it to a different relationship. And what the therapist is trying to get you to see is it's important for you to uproot this. It's important for you to get rid of this transfer. You don't want to just move the trauma, the toxicity from one relationship to another. We got to figure out how to remove the trauma altogether. And so what we've done in this country, especially with religion, it's transference. We've taken it out of the system of chattel slavery and we've just put it into a model that says, oh, now we're going to be slaves for Christ. And I know several people who use that language, that we are slaves for Christ. We call Jesus master. It's even in the songs. I was playing one of the songs the other day, Master. There's something about that name. Mm. Jesus, you know the song? Uh-huh. There's something about that name, Master. Let me say that. Mm-hmm. Savior, Jesus, let all heaven and earth proclaim. It's all embedded. And so why do we have to be slaves, period, let alone slaves to Christ, especially if Christ is our deliverer, if Christ is our savior, if Christ is our rescuer? Why do we have to be his slave? And so, yes, I believe that the system of religion is absolutely complicit in our inability to be dependent because we continue to feed into that system without checking it, without challenging it, without taking a step back and saying, hold on a minute, can we have God without this? And many times we don't do that in church. We just keep rocking and rolling with this Jesus that we call master. So I do think that it's all part of the conversation. But I don't want us to get bogged down in religion. I want us to think about something that my friend, I'm trying to find it. So I'm probably going to have to paraphrase it because I can't find it exactly. I thought I took a picture of it. I don't know if you know Umar Johnson, Tony. Have you ever heard of Dr. Umar Johnson? Yes. He's a psychologist, Black male, and he has lots to say about lots of things. Yes. And I do not agree with him 90% of the time, probably 97% of the time I don't agree with him. But there is at least 3% of the time when I agree with him. And one of the statements that he made recently that really just struck me and I wanted to share with us this morning is about the 4th of July. He says, how is it that, and I'm paraphrasing because I can't find the quote, how is it that we just celebrated Juneteenth on the 19th, right? Juneteenth is the 19th of June. We just celebrated Juneteenth, talking about the independence of African Americans when we were set free. And then we turn around and want to celebrate the 4th of July that honors the country that enslaved you. Pick a side, is what he said. I need you to pick a side. Either you're going to celebrate and be for the movement and the struggle that we are continuing to fight as Black folks in particular, or you're going to be complicit with the system of whiteness. Which one is it? Because you can't do both. And so what you were celebrating over on Juneteenth is not the same as what you're celebrating on the 4th of July. Do we even stop to think about that becomes the question. And I don't think that we do. And that's why I thought that this was poignant for Dr. Johnson to say that, hey, have we thought about our behavior, or are we so programmed that just every time a holiday comes up, we just think that we're supposed to celebrate it? Do we think that I got to go spend some more money? I can't remember how much money they say we spend on hot dogs and hamburgers on the 4th of July as a country. And I wonder if we redistributed the money that we spent on hamburgers and hot dogs, would there be homelessness among us? Would there be hunger among us if we spent that money in different ways so that the people who really need it could get it? So these are just questions that I'm offering up for consideration as we make our way to the speech that Frederick Douglass wrote back in the day that also challenges this holiday that we call the 4th of July.
I do agree with you on this one point. I think these holidays, and since it's the 4th of July, we'll talk about it in particular. It becomes a tradition thing, because I don't think most Black people. Well, I don't think most Black people think about it. I know veterans, most veterans, especially those who have retired from the military, there is a place in their being that says, hey, because I served my country, I'm going to celebrate it. And I think about the independence of this country and everything. But I think most Black people will look at it and say that, hey, it's a day off, it's opportunity, as you said earlier, we're going to get together, we're going to party, we're going to have fun, and has become this traditional thing. My family, growing up, 4th of July, we on the lakefront in Chicago, whole family, all different branches of the family. And it was like a festive, we having a great time, shooting fireworks type of thing. And yes, it was never talked about as far as what it really meant to us. We just, we interpret it as, hey, it's a day to have, this is a day to eat, drink, and be merry. So that is a great question about, what are we, how we look at it, how we're framing it. But I think the tradition of these holidays has become more part of the conversation than what the holiday is truly all about.
And then I would simply say to that, when you know better, you ought to do better. And as we continue to have this conversation rooted in Olita Adams talking about get here when you can, and that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for us to wake up. We're waiting for Black folks to help each other wake up, because I can't just sit back and say, hey, Toney, I need you to wake up. I've got to do the work in my own life that helps you see that there's a different way of living. There's a different way of loving. There's a different way of knowing. There's a different way of educating. There's a different way of being informed. So as I do my own work and then put myself in spaces to be exposed, to help expose other people to the work, then together we can begin to do the work in a way that makes a difference. And so I'm saying that we're sitting here right now saying there are people who need to wake up. Y'all celebrating the 4th today, that's fine. But what are y'all talking about? Let's have a different conversation when you gather together. Let's talk about what it means. And I found that quote from Dr. Johnson. Here are his words. There's nothing worse than a Negro who will celebrate his ancestors' freedom on Juneteenth and then turn right around and celebrate the slave masters who owned them on July 4th. Please pick a side and stay on it. That's what he says. There's nothing worse than a Negro who will celebrate his ancestors' freedom on Juneteenth and then turn right around and celebrate the slave masters who owned them on July 4th. Please pick a side and stay on it. And so that's the quote that I was referencing earlier that I was paraphrasing because I could not find the words exactly. And so I wanted to make sure that I did not leave this space without reading them directly from his mouth. And that's Dr. Umar Johnson. I also want to take a moment to read something else to us because I've been thinking about this 4th of July. Oh, I should make this announcement. Pyramid today on July 4th. I want to say it starts at 10 o'clock. I'm going to pull up this announcement. I forgot about it earlier, but they're having today at noon. Oh, it's at noon. Please join us on July 4th, 2023 at 12 noon for a reading and discussion of What to the Slave is the 4th of July, a speech delivered by Frederick Douglass on July 5th, 1852 at Corinthian Hall in Rochester, New York, at a meeting organized by the Rochester Ladies Anti-Slavery Society. The guest orator is Reverend Wendell L. Griffin. So that's happening today at 12 noon at Pyramid Art, Books, and Custom Framing. And they're going to be open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it's over here at 1001 Wright Avenue here in the city of Little Rock. And that speech is a long speech. So I am not going to read the entire speech. It is way too long. But I do want to read this one particular part of the speech. I can't wait to see how Reverend Griffin handles this. But here's the part that I want to lift up to us today as we continue to just offer up a series of questions for you to ponder. I'm not trying to give you any answers today, but just coming up with, just putting into the atmosphere, just releasing into the universe questions that I think we need to struggle with as individuals and as a collective and as a human body to talk about ways that we can help free each other. So here are the words of Frederick Douglass from that speech. What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer. A day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year, the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty an unholy license, your national greatness swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciations of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour. Those are the words of Frederick Douglass, just an excerpt of that speech that he gave on July 5th in 1852. Nobody can tell me that those words are not powerful. And you think about them being powerful in 1852, but what's interesting, you ask me why I keep doing these EJI tidbits, because you're talking about something that happened in 1933, because we have to see the connection. So these are words that Frederick Douglass spoke in 1852, and I just read them today in 2023, and they are just as meaningful, just as relevant, just as significant, because our condition has not changed. So yes, if you want to eat ribs, that's fine, but eat them remembering that your condition has not changed. Yes, you want to gather on the lakefront. Yes, you want to gather with the fireworks. Yes, you want to gather with that, but remember that you are still a slave in America as a Black person. Remember that somebody down the street is incarcerated. Somebody has an incarcerated family member that's part of the system of mass incarceration while you're eating them ribs. I just want you to think about that. I'm not saying don't eat them. I'm not saying don't barbecue. I'm not saying don't grill. I'm asking, what conversation are you having in the midst of it all to make sure that you are paying attention to what the plight of Black people continues to be in this country that we call the United States of America?
Sometimes you hear words or you hear something and you don't have to comment. You don't have to say anything because you already know it's true. You already know that what is said should resonate. And I think that's the thing we talk about waking people up when you're fighting and you're trying to get people to truly understand. I think that's the most frustrating part because as Malcolm X said, we've been bamboozled, hoodwinked to believe something that is not true. To just because I give you something, don't mean I'm taking my foot off your neck. And I think that sometimes as Black folks, we believe because whether we've been given something or whether we believe something, our status has changed, whether it's materialistically, whether it's financially, whether it's in neighborhoods or whatever. But at the end of the day, that foot is still on our necks.
And so I think that now that I'm thinking more about it as we're having this conversation. Oh, wait. Oh my goodness. Let me pause for a moment. I talked to Hotel, and I think it was last Tuesday. We were holding space for him because his leg was going to be amputated, or should have been amputated by then. But I talked to him, and the leg has not yet been amputated.
Yay! Yeah.
And so now we don't know if it's going to be. So the doctors are testing to see if they can do anything to save that leg. And so they are trying, and they want to exhaust every avenue before they make that decision. So the decision to amputate has not been made. He still has that leg. And so I told him, I'm glad that the doctors didn't listen to him because he went in there telling them what they needed to do. You know how Hotel is. But he's willing also to give himself over to the system of care that has been afforded to him. And so we are waiting and watching to see what is going to happen. So I wanted to make sure I made that announcement. I'm so glad that I remembered. Y'all keep sending the good vibes, keep releasing the good thoughts into the atmosphere. Those of you who believe in the power of prayer, keep praying for our brother and our sibling and our friend. Caller, you're live on the air at KABF 88.3. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, peace and blessings, my brother and my sister.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Listen, I'm just now recognizing the news about Brother Hotel.
Yes, we're concerned that his other leg is going to have to be amputated. So he's in the hospital right now.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, well, my prayers is definitely going out for that, brother. Oh, I didn't know that. Because I had a brother, he's gone now. He had made the transition about 4 years ago. Him and McIntyre was very good friends. Him and McIntyre and Reverend Stewart and ex-President Clinton. His name was Irvin Lacey. Most people know him here in Louisville. And he wound up, that's what took him out, the amputation of his legs. I didn't know that. But anyway, my prayers is definitely out for him. I mean, yes. Listen, Sister Denise, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you just fine.
I said I wasn't going to tell you this until I got a chance to meet you in person. But God is telling me to go and tell you. For the second time, I heard your show that comes on Sunday.
That's not me, Mr. Willie.
Who is it?
I do not know. We're going to try to find out for you, but that's not me. I'm only here on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Well, it's a show to come on and she's using your name.
Oh, maybe you're talking about Theater of the Air in the afternoon. They're playing the Black Love event.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes, that's me. That's me.
My kids already tell me they need to put me in the fourth room. You know, don't do that.
Yes. Yes.
You got these kids.
My
You
apologies.
sent me to Fort Group.
My apologies.
Yes, I heard you. I forgot the name of it now.
Yeah, it was the.
And you was as the young people say, you was the lead dog on I think you was doing all this. I said, yeah, don't start that quick. You got be scared now.
Yes, you're right. You're right. They're playing the recording of the event. That is what you're right.
Right. But anyway, it's a masterpiece. I wish I'd had the equipment where I could have documented. Now they gonna do it again next Sunday?
Yeah, so you've been listening to the Black Love, the first episode. This Sunday should start the second episode of the Black Love 2 event, which is primarily from the voices of men. Tony's on that one. It's at 4. It should be airing at 4 o'clock, if not 4 o'clock, 4:30.
And it's an hour long, right?
It's an hour long.
Well, listen, this was the first time, other than the show, that you do solo and when you co-host with you and brother. But I said, what? I said, I know that voice when I first heard it. I said, no, this can't be. And I tell you, that conversation is so profound and sociably, and I said, whoa. I said, the listening audience from KBF need to hear that. I mean, you be killing it. All of y'all be killing it. I mean, you guys is really laying intellectually, philosophically, down to earth, right to the point. Man, you guys are doing it. And I want everybody to hear my voice. Sister, my biological son, he just brought me home. He wanted me to come over and hang out with him and his wife today. So I got a few little things around the house I need to do, so I'm going to do everything in my power to go out and fellowship with him 4 or 5 hours a day, because we never know when the last time we're going to be with our children or friends or whoever, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
No, we don't. The last time we're going to see them or whatever, you know?
Yes.
And you got to take the moments and the minutes. You got to live in the present on certain things. But anyway, though, I said, whoa. I mean, you know, I've always told you that you was a master debater. You know, you were born to be that. I mean, you just got good sense. I mean, you just really, Almighty God just blessed you with solid knowledge. I mean, you even if you didn't have the paperwork saying you doctor or whatever, you just born a genius. But man, you all are really kidding. Listen, I'm going to do everything I can to make the event coming up. I believe this Saturday.
It's Saturday.
And it started 10 to 2.
Oh, wait. 10 to 2. No. 10 to 2 is what time Pyramid is open today. And when Reverend...
No, I'm talking about the event Acorn.
Oh, yes, that's from 10 to 2.
At War Memorial Park.
Right, but Brother Tony, he did the promo on that.
Yes.
And 10 to 2 is 4 hours, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm propagating it by word of mouth, because I'm assuming that you all are using the media, technology, or whatever. Are you passing out the flyers or just doing it on the radio?
The radio, doing phone banking, and I think Facebook.
Oh, so what time do that you all let the phone bankers come in? What time up there at ACO?
You have to call them at a different time. So you have to call ACO, call Neil and Martella, and they will get you in at a specific time where you can phone back.
Well, I would do that. I would do that tomorrow because they probably is not going to be in office today.
No.
So I will call them tomorrow and set up a designated time that I can come up there and do about an hour phone banking, because I'm already doing the word of mouth the whole way, telling people about it, and so we can hopefully people can see what's going on. And I think we're supposed to have Sister Senator George Ellis there. Or she supposed to be there?
I don't know, but if I know Senator Elliott, she'll probably show up.
You say you don't know?
I don't know for certain that she's going to be there, but
I thought I heard you said that, or somebody said that she was supposed to be there. I apologize. I thought you or somebody said that you was going to be there.
that she was going to be there or I was going to be there.
No, I knew. I figured you didn't be out of the country or whatever. That you would be there, you know. But you and Neil, I mean, we expecting you two to be there unless something come up. But I thought I heard in the promo that she's supposed to be there too.
No, not in the promos that I did.
Well, I said, I mean, you know, without the error on my part there. But anyway, I'm passing the word by word of mouth and telling people to be there, and I'm also propagating the nature of ACO. But you know, I've been with ACO ever since 1995, but it was Acorn then, something by the name of Acorn. But and I know it's effective for the low and moderate income people. And right now, the way the political system and the economic system is working, as I've always said, politics, whether you like it or not, and money, those two systems, I don't know how you're going to make it without it. You can run hide up on a rock if you want to, but you got to get involved. You can't sit around like this homeless situation. This homeless situation and this thing about these slum landlords should have never got this far out of hand. See, we should have intervened this. We shouldn't have let this thing go into a Goliath situation before we start to try to attack it externally. But still, I'm not saying that we just stay around on the sideline and be cheerleaders. But I'm saying, boots on the ground. Foot soldiers win wars, not generals. They set up strategy and how to win a war. But to get in there to actually get the job done, you got to have boots on the ground. And people's got to get involved. They got to go start going. I'm talking about politically. They want to start going to these town meetings. They want to look up with the ACO and other local organizations and get involved. The church school, the preachers, clergymen, they're going to have to come out the pulpit and get into the neighborhood. Are you still there?
Yes, we're here.
Yeah, I'm not interested in no Brook Brothers. I got Brook Brothers suits that I have never worn. I got $300 or $400 shoes I never worn. But I still take care of my family. And these clergymen, I'm not impressed with you having a nice car, big fine car, and diamond ring, and I don't see you out in the neighborhood. I don't need you to preach to me. I can read the Bible, whatever book of your preference. In most cases, I think I got more understanding on how these heads of churches, clergymen. I talk to them, I isolate them. And when they won't have nobody to help them, and come to find, I'm not impressed with them. I don't even know why they've been head of a church. When it comes down to knowledge, when it comes down to wisdom, they don't even know what you're talking about. I mean, they can recite scripture, but there's no understanding. Because I know the right question to ask them. To get to the DNA factor, do you know what you're talking about? Or you just reciting a poem? Anybody can learn something and recite it. A robot can do that. So I'm just saying, the people, the government is the people, for the people, by the people. Those are three conjunctions. For, by, ills. We got the power, but it's no good if we don't activate it. Thank you. Good show as always.
Thank you, Mr. Willie. As Mr. Willie was talking, I was thinking about a couple of things. And we're running out of time here, but one, perhaps this is a good day for us to gather with our families to not celebrate the 4th of July, but to rest up a bit, to take this time to love on each other, to have some food, to drink together, play some dominoes. I know when my family gets together, it's always spades, dominoes. We always have all of that going on. There's a variety of beverages for people, a variety of libations for people. And then there's a whole lot of food. We have games for the children. All of that happens. Maybe we can think about it as a time of rest so that we can continue to fight. Maybe you can think about it like that. That's something to consider. I was also thinking, what if we organized an event next year for the 4th of July, where we're asking people to come together to strategize? And then if you want to have hot dogs and hamburgers and ribs, we can have all of that there. But the purpose of the meeting is to strategize and to think about how we're going to continue to fight. Because just like we fight this year in 2023, we're going to be fighting next year in 2024. So maybe we can think about that. So I was thinking about that as Mr. Willie was saying, because, when he was talking about people like you just talking, or you want to look good, but you want to sound good, but what effect are you having? What impacts are you making? Like, how can we turn this thing around where we're not just talking on the air, but we are putting these words into action, and we are calling people into action, and we are actually creating spaces for people to act, in which people can act. Direct action, indirect action, whatever it is, or whatever lane you feel like you are most comfortable, that you are called to in this journey towards collective liberation. And that's for all people. All of us have to fight together to get to the point where we are free. So maybe we can talk about that. I don't know.
I think that is something good.
Yeah, we can talk about that, because I think we can make that happen. But thinking about what you said about your family, and it's a tradition, do you think that people would pull away from their families in order to attend and participate in this strategy session? Or do you think that they would be like, man, I'm going to be with my folks?
I think one of the things that happens is, and let's face it, let's be honest about this. That conversation becomes uncomfortable a lot of times with Black people, because you have these two factions. I'm just speaking about my family. I'm just going to talk about my family. I don't know about anybody else's. So you have this faction in my family who, like me, are always concentrating on how, what can Black people do? What do we need to do? What do we need to do? And then you have this other faction who's like, and I ain't got time for that. I got mine. You need to get yours. I don't care about this. And so when you start to have that conversation, and then ultimately, the questions come, and once those questions start coming, it may resonate, or it may hit a nerve in one faction or the other, and then it just goes awry. It just becomes problematic. And I think that's where it needs to begin at, is that we have to come together and understand that the whole purpose of this is how can we move forward. And no matter what side you're on, at some point in time, you have to recognize whether you're being complicit or whether you have to recognize that I'm actually doing something. And so I think that's where it becomes difficult sometimes.
But I think this harkens back to a conversation we had with Ezekiel. I think it was last week. I don't remember if it was a Tuesday or a Thursday, when he talked about unity. There's so much strength in unity. So it's interesting, because in your family, my family is a lot like your family, except we have the side that's what folks would call bougie, and we have the side that what some people would call hood. And so we have all of that together in one space. And so these conversations dissolve, because in our own family, there are some of us who believe we are better than others of us in our family, because we got this house, you ain't got no house, and we start to have these kinds of differences that manifest in very ungodly conversations sometimes, and it causes harm with our family. But what we have to remember, and I feel like this is what Ezekiel is calling us to do, is that we all still in the same boat. regardless of what you think you have, or regardless of what you're accusing me of not having, we are Black in America. And if we could just unify around that trauma and decide together how we're gonna navigate and heal from that trauma and fight for the liberation from that trauma, then maybe we can get somewhere, because it doesn't make sense for us to be arguing as a family when we still Black.
Right.
So thank you so much. We still Black. Thank you so much.
Arguing over the crumbs. Like we still Black. It's still crumbs.
Thank you so much for joining us for Community Voices. You have been live with Denise and Toney right here in this space, and your girl Lola is already ready. Ow! Don't touch that dial. You want to hear this music that she is about to play. It will set your soul on fire. And I'm a living witness to that. I ain't talking about what nobody told me. I'm talking about what I experience on Tuesdays for the next 2 hours. So don't touch that dial. Stay right here at KABF 88.3 FM, where we are the voice of the people. Hey, good morning.